Welcome back to the legal frontier. For today's episode, we will explore the fundamental principles of the General Data Protection Regulation laid out in Article 5. These are principles that every data controller must be compliant with in order to comply with the regulation. The first principle is the principle of lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. Lawfulness means that all data processing must have a valid legal basis, such as a consent or contract. Fairness ensures that data subjects isn't misled or unfairly treated, and transparency means that individuals must be informed clearly about how the data is used, as well as why it's used. An example of a case was a case where Meta had a €390 million fine in January 2023, which shows the importance of transparency. Meta changed its legal basis for processing data without properly informing the users. That violated the GDPR's transparency principle. The second principle is purpose limitation. The purpose limitation principle states that all data should only be collected for specific purposes and not used in ways unrelated to the original reason without new legal basis. This ensures that personal data isn't misused. TikTok was fined €345 million in September 2023, and that highlights this principle because TikTok mishandled children's data by making their accounts public by default, which wasn't aligned with the original purpose for which the data was collected. The next principle is data minimization. That means that companies should only collect the data they need for the task. Collecting excessive data increases risk and is not allowed under the GDPR. Amazon's €746 million fine in 2021 was partly due to collecting more personal data than necessary without sufficient legal grounds, violating the principle of data minimization. The next principle is accuracy. Under the accuracy principle, organizations and governments are required to keep personal data accurate and up to date. Any inaccuracies must be corrected without delay to avoid issues for the data subject. In 2022, Meta was fined €405 million for failing to protect the accuracy of children's personal data on Instagram, as their accounts displayed incorrect and publicly accessible contact information. The next principle is storage limitation. That means that personal data is only kept for as long as it's needed. Once the data is no longer necessary, it should be deleted or anonymized. Amazon's €746 million fine in 2021 also included breaches of storage limitation, as the company kept customer data for longer than was necessary for its original purpose. The last principle is integrity and confidentiality. That means that it requires organizations to protect personal data from breaches and unauthorized access. This principle is crucial for maintaining data security and trust. British Airways got a fine of €22.4 million for failing to secure personal data properly, so hackers were able to collect personal and financial information for over 400,000 customers due to inadequate security measures. And lastly, accountability means that businesses must not only comply with the GDPR, but also demonstrate their compliance. That includes keeping records and showing how they protect personal data. Meta's €1.2 billion fine in May 2023 for transferring European user data to the United States without proper safeguards demonstrates the importance of accountability. Meta failed to ensure compliance with the GDPR's transfer rules. As you can see, the GDPR's principles are not just guidelines, they are strict rules that protect personal data. When companies fail to follow these rules, it can result in strict and severe fines, which we saw with TikTok, Meta, and others. If you liked this episode, be sure to subscribe for more content about law, data protection, AI, and human rights.